I'd like to talk about a new coaching tool which is called Positive Intelligence, PQ. And you'll probably be aware of IQ, so intellectual intelligence testing, and also EQ, which is all about emotional intelligence, where PQ is about positive intelligence. And what it focuses on is intensive research that has been done on the brain and looking at how the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain function, in particularly focusing on the negative pathways. When you're born, you're obviously not born with negative thoughts. What you do over time is you create negative pathways that has come from learnt behavior or environments that you've been in that have created those. And the reason why I've got really interested in positive intelligence coaching is because when I meet clients for the first time and I talk to them about what is it that they're looking for from coaching, they don't ask me for how to do a strategic plan or re-looking at the way that their team is structured. They start with themselves. So they start in the areas of imposter syndrome or confidence dealing with certain types of situations. Or it could be about building resilience to handle the stresses and strains of a busy lifestyle, which is both personal and from a work environment. So what positive intelligence coaching framework does, it really starts to break down that individual's pathways that they've built in the left side of their brain. And it identifies where that voice is coming from, which is stopping you from taking you to the next level. And we call that the judge. And those judges are identified within the program and then start to break down how we can reframe the way we approach certain elements of our both personal, as I said, or work environment to create a more positive outcome. And I was really interested in this because you guys out there, that's what you talk about and that's what you worry about. So starting any form of coaching program with a positive intelligence program, which is about 6 weeks long, really does unpick some of those key challenges that you face. I was attracted to PQ because one, it really does start to get into the mental side of what stops people from doing elements within both business and personal. And a personal one for me, an example here would be that when I was a chief operating officer in Linnaeus, my daughter was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I was actually in the middle of interviewing somebody for a senior role at the time. And my imposter syndrome and my voice that came into me when I found out was just keep going. You've got a responsibility here. You're in a position of leadership. Don't show your vulnerabilities because that's the role that you take. You're a female in a leadership role, and you should be acting strong in this environment. So I dusted myself down, went to the toilet, wiped away the tears, walked back into the interview and continued those interviews back to back for the rest of the day. And I reflect on that a lot in terms of why I did that, because obviously inside I was very emotional. And that was my own imposter syndrome taking control of me. And in hindsight, I should have had the confidence to be able to say, I can't continue my day. I've just had some bad news. And I would have then took the action that really inside my head I wanted to take. My daughter's absolutely fine, and I had lots of support while I was in that business. But it was a good example to demonstrate to you what people are feeling inside, and I wanted to explore that further for myself. So this PQ program was created by a gentleman in the US called Sherman, and he had spent many years fighting his own judges and trying to find a way to navigate to a more positive lifestyle. He himself had a very impactful childhood, which had caused him to create that learnt behaviour had taken him on a path that he wasn't enjoying. And he worked in a research faculty, and he thought there's just something here that I need to unpick, and that was the start of his journey. He was also a CEO of a multi-million-pound company, and there were elements of his judge that used to come out on a constant basis. So I was attracted to this because, as I said earlier, that I'd spoken to a lot of clients around coaching, and the blocker that we always came up against was the inner self. And this program really does help unpick elements of that, but also create and give you tools to continue to manage this on an ongoing basis. So the PQ program starts with an assessment which identifies your level of positive intelligence within your left and your right side of your brain. And then it identifies which elements of your judge are the most powerful, that are controlling some of those feelings of lack of confidence or resilience or imposter syndrome that I talked about earlier. And then the program for the next 6 weeks, which is mostly self-paced learning via an app and some videos. And once a week, you'll join me on a meeting with fellow PQ attendees to really unpick some of the learnings that have come out of the program that you've seen through either using the app or listening to Shazad talk about his journey and unpick the program in much more detail. So what really attracted me to this was, one, there's a real need to get this out there, and I use it every day, every single day in my practice. But also it's a really good, quick, accelerated program, 6 weeks of learning with real tools to take forward for the future you. There's a huge amount of evidence now that talks about, face-to-face traditional training and development programs don't have the impact that we require on the individual to change behaviour. And evidence shows that the minute those learners walk out of the room, 80% of that learning is lost. The good thing about PQ is that this is a little and often. So the program is app-led. You have your own individual gym environment where you can utilize the tools on a regular basis with guided learning to take you through the 6-week program alongside a number of audio files and some live pod meetings, which you'll join me on. So what I liked about that 6 weeks is that it's every single day, but very little bit. So about 15 minutes a day of interaction and using the tools, and an hour watching a video, and an hour's pod meeting a week. 6 weeks of that really starts to change behaviour in a really positive way. It allows you to learn tools and techniques which are tangible and deployable in your environment on a daily basis from week 1. So not big, chunky, sitting in lessons, learning techniques, but very small, bite-sized, tangible learnings. And this has been so powerful and so well received in large organisations. People like Yahoo, Hewlett-Packard are all using the positive intelligence framework for their leadership teams. I'm in 12 weeks now and really enjoying it still. If you're really interested in learning more about this, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and I can talk to you further about it. Or you can log on to the website to find out more on www.positiveintelligence.com, and then come back to me and I'll share with you how to get going on your 6-week journey.